and we're back with another episode of the Daily Deuce. I'm Dante Webster, and joining me today is...
Good afternoon. I'm John Webster. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Deuce. And also today we have a special guest, former Dunbar High School and former Georgetown superstar, Reggie Williams. Thanks for joining us today, Reggie.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Dante, we're going to start off today. I guess we're going to go a little bit old school on you. So we're going to talk a little bit about Reggie and the times he was playing at Dunbar, times he was playing at Georgetown, and what he's doing today.
I'm going to let you take the lead on the Dunbar part, because the easiest part to research out of all of that is Georgetown. So I'm going to let you go Dunbar. You can have that one. I'm going to let you lead off with this one. Go ahead.
Reggie, again, thanks for being here today. With your Dunbar teams and even with your Georgetown teams, you guys were like rock stars. I mean, you all set a precedent for how you played ball. I mean, at Dunbar, your 82-83 team, undefeated, and quite a team. What was the record, 31-0 that year?
It was 31-0 that year. We finished 59-0 the last 2 years.
Wow.
My first year we lost 3. We were 24-3. So the last 2 years we didn't lose. We were 59-0, and we were going around the country beating everybody.
And your team that year, you had a player who ended up being quite a pro basketball player, but he couldn't even start on your high school team.
Yeah.
Reggie Lewis.
Yeah.
Unbelievable player. Ended up playing for my second favorite team in the NBA, the Celtics.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And how many pro players did you have on that team?
We had myself, Muggsy, Reggie Lewis, and Sam, and the rest of the guys came a little later.
Sam Cassell?
Yes.
Okay.
Sam Cassell, yes.
Okay. And Coach Wade had a positive impact on a lot of y'all, didn't he?
Yeah, he had an impact on our lives as on the court and off the court. Still today, we still have relationships. The guys still have relationship with Coach Wade.
That's great, man. Tell me, is it true y'all used to have practices and hold these bricks up? Is this true with your practices?
Every day. We had bricks in our hand, and we ran sprints. We did jumping jacks. This is after we was in the gym for 3 hours. So Coach Wade was real a stickler for getting in shape. He said if they could invent a pill to get in shape, he would let us take that, but they haven't come up with it. They haven't come up with it yet. So you got to do it the old-fashioned way.
Now let me ask you a couple questions, and then we're going to slide into Dante and let him get into the Georgetown era. One, the greatest game that was never played in high school, Dunbar's 82-83 team against Calvert Hall. Who would have won?
We would have won. We should have won that year before the triple overtime game, but it got away from us at the end. We missed some free throws. They made plays down the stretch, but we were banking on winning that, but we didn't, and we were ready. We were gearing up for the next year. What
happened? What held it back from not happening?
I think the coach. I think he was a little timid.
Okay.
You know, we were beating people, and after we went up to Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And we went up there. I think Calvert Hall had beat them. It was a struggle, 2 to 4 point game, and we went up to the Camden Madhouse and beat them by 30 points. We was up 25 at halftime.
I remember.
And I think Coach Amatusi got a whiff of that, and he didn't want to play us. So he didn't schedule. He didn't put us on the schedule.
So the greatest game never to be played.
Never be played.
Wow.
Okay, guys, we've done a good job talking about Dunbar. We're going to get right into Georgetown after we take a quick break. All right, we're gonna go Georgetown in segment 2, and we'll just change it up. For third segment, we'll talk about Georgetown in segment. I got you after this. Okay, so Reggie, we know that you were a Dunbar superstar, but you also played at Georgetown. You were one of the Hoyas, and you were one of the Hoyas that won a national championship. So I just have to ask, how was it beating Phi Sigma Jamma, right?
Yes.
You guys took one of Houston's national championships away from them that they probably should have won in those 2 years.
Yeah.
But how was that for you guys? How was it to guard? Who was probably, I think I'd just like to ask the old school question, who was probably the hardest person to guard on the Houston team for you?
Well, they had a great team. Even when I was in high school, I was watching them beat Louisville, beat a lot of teams, and I thought they would, eventually be national champions. But they got away from them. Michael Young was tough because he was big, strong, like a big 2 guard or a small forward. that could shoot and drive. So he was a difficult guard, but they had many guys on that team that could play.
You know, that night, the championship night, if I'm not mistaken, you were leading scorer that night, 19 points?
Yes.
About 6, 7 rebounds. You led the way.
Yeah.
And you were a freshman on that Georgetown team.
Year, yes.
And unbelievable talent with that team that year, wasn't it? It was you, Pat Ewing, David Wingate, Dune.
Michael Graham.
I shouldn't call him Dune.
Yeah.
Billy Martin.
Yeah.
Billy Martin.
Yeah.
Who else did you
We
have?
had
Michael
Gene
Jackson, Gene Smith.
We had Horace Broadneck. All
Horace
those guys
Broadneck.
was big contributors.
Oh my goodness. You had to pick your poison, Dante. A team like that. They don't make teams like that anymore,
Yeah,
Dante.
no, they don't make them like that.
I mean, technically they do it for recruiting, but it's a little bit different. That sounds a little bit more natural and homogenous, or whatever the word is. But no, I understand exactly what you're saying. So what was your favorite year at Georgetown for you?
It might have been my senior year because I was there. The guys had graduated, Patrick Wingate, Michael Jackson. So now people were looking to beat up on Georgetown, but they forgot I was still there.
Sure.
So Thompson named us Reggie and the Miracles. And it was a great senior year. You know, it was a lot of young guys. Michael Graham came in with me as a freshman, but he left. So that was disappointing because I wanted Mike to be there the full time with me because I still feel today that we left 2 championships on the table. And with Mike, my last year there, that's all I needed, one more player, and he was the enforcer.
Sure.
And we'd have got to that 87 championship. We lost in the final weight to Providence, and it was disappointing. But hey, you know, that's how things go sometimes. But my senior year was probably my best year.
Wow, that's unbelievable, man. And you said Graham played your freshman year, right?
Yes.
And if he's there that second year,
That's another one. That's another one. 85. That's
yeah.
an 85 we left on the table. And that year, you know, we was expected to win, but Villanova played great. They held the ball. The shot clock wasn't in existence, so that helped them out a little bit. But
if anybody played a perfect game, you would have to say Villanova did that night because you guys played a great game. You still shot 50 to 55%.
Yeah.
Villanova had to shoot 66% just to win by 2 points.
Yeah, but John, they only shot 8 or 9 times.
Yeah, okay.
I think it was 80%, but they held the ball. They only shot 8 or 9 times in the whole second half. So
that makes it a little bit easier to shoot a high percentage.
High percentage. So they got away with one, but you know, Villanova, they were tough. They was one of our rivals in the Big East, and you know, when you play rivals, and when you have a conference and you play rivals, and then you play them again. And playoff type of basketball, it's kind of hard beating teams over and over and over. And so they know you know them, and it was one of those type of games. You know, they were a lower seed, but they were our rivals in the Big East. So that 8 seed they had, it wasn't really an 8 seed.
They had no fear of you all.
Yeah, they
and
were ready to play.
the thing I admired about you all, even through high school, everybody you played, it was their championship game. Yeah. So you all had to bring your best every night. Because they were going to give their best because it was either Dunbar or Georgetown, and they wanted to beat you all.
Yeah, in high school, it was like a sellout at home, on the road. We were like rock stars, like you said. We were like the Bulls before they started talking about the Bulls, because that was like the early 80s. And, you know, we had this talent that nobody else had.
I used to read, I always got the Baltimore Sun. And they said if they didn't get to, by halftime to the JV game, it was a sellout and you wouldn't get into the Dunbar
varsity.
Yeah,
you wasn't getting in. They pushed a lot of people back, and those years, I don't know if they do it now, but the JV did, sometimes they played before us. At home, they played after us. On the road, they played before us. So it was a little different back then. I don't know how they doing it now.
All right, we're going to keep Reggie around, and we're going to move on to our next couple of topics. So this last topic, we'll go with hardball.
3, 2. You want to do NBA basketball first?
All right, so we have the playoffs going on. We have a whole lot of basketball going on. We just got out of the NCAA tournament. Everything is going on right now in the NBA. You have draft prospects, playoffs going on. And basically, I'm going to start off with prospects here. And with my prospects, I just mean Lonzo Ball, probably as a Lakers fan, because that's where he wants to go, and I wouldn't mind having him. And because his father has become the name that everybody talks about in basketball right now. So, in general, between the $495 shoes and the ego or anything else you could say about him, what do you think LeVar Ball effect? How do you think LeVar Ball be perceived right now? Is it a negative effect he's going to have on his son, Reggie? I'll let you go ahead and take the first stab at that.
It's a negative effect because the kid hasn't played 1 minute in the NBA. I mean, it's great that a father supports his sons and want the best for them, but let the kid develop, let him grow, let him get a feel of an NBA game and practice before he start putting a crown on his head. That's the only thing I have about LeVar Ball is that he's putting pressure on his son, and before he even get to the NBA, and a lot of people are going to have venom against Lonzo Ball because of his father, of what his father's doing, and I don't like that part of it.
So with them having venom about LeVar, they're going to take it out on Lonzo.
Take it out on his son, yes.
And that's going to make his life difficult
yes.
when he gets to the NBA.
Because he's going to get the best effort from people who don't even play defense. They don't play defense in the regular season in the NBA, and they're going to get the best from people who don't even play, playing it hard against him to make it tough for him so they can show his father, hey, your son hasn't arrived yet. Mm-hmm. But the kid is a decent kid. He still has a lot to grow. Mm-hmm. He's not a finished basketball player.
Do you think maybe as Lonzo gets into the NBA, maybe he starts, I don't mean it totally distance himself, but maybe separate himself from a business standpoint? So he gets a business manager and lets that business manager handle more of his situations as opposed to letting his father LeVar handle the situations.
Well, early on, I think LeVar has a presence over his son. Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, mm-hmm. but I think when Lonzo play a few years in the league, he will see mm-hmm. that he will maybe have to part ways unless his father changed drastically about the situation. Let him play, let him develop and see who he is as a player, and then you can negotiate or you can do whatever you want to do to help your son, but let him play in the game first.
Yeah.
Let him play in the game.
And I part of me wants to, I can see where LeVar Ball is coming from. I can appreciate he wants to make sure he is in his son's life, mm-hmm. and that's what he's trying to do. But it's just how he's doing it. He may be overburdening his son with how he's taking the approach. Yes. Because, an example, like the tennis shoe. He doesn't want Under Armour. He doesn't want Nike. He doesn't
want them. He wants them. He wants to do different business, though. He
yes.
doesn't want his son to be a quote-unquote slave to the man. He
mm-hmm.
whave a different type of business deal where it's just a partnership. That's what he can't say he doesn't want it.
A distribution deal that
mm-hmm.
nobody has. The Jordan, the only one has that.
Yeah.
But Jordan is Jordan. Jordan didn't come out of school with a distribution deal.
How long did it take Michael Jordan to get there?
It took a while. It took a while before Michael Jordan did that. And so LeVar has to understand that you got to let your son play, and then you can ask for what you want.
Maybe I didn't use a wise words by saying he doesn't want Nike. Well, maybe I should say it like Nike and Adidas and Under Armour are apprehensive about doing business with them
in that way.
Right now.
Yeah.
And I can't blame them because it's an unknown quantity. Yeah. You don't know what the commodity has. As we said, Michael Jordan, I think we all can agree, Michael Jordan is one of the 1, 2, 3 top basketball players of all time. Mm-hmm. But look how long it took him to get that deal. And you're talking about a kid who's a good ball player, but
you have holes.
I'm not anywhere near the ball player you are, Reggie. Mm-hmm. If I'm seeing holes in his game, I know you see holes in his game. Yeah. He's still a good player, but there's things that he has to develop. Mm-hmm. So to give him something like that, his own shoe and his own distribution, what have you, out of the bat.
It happened. It had happened before with LeBron James, but it was a totally different player. Mm-hmm. When he came out, he had the Nike deal, but he was 6'8", 250, mm-hmm. And he was, a hell of a player, a scorer, rebound. He did everything. Lonzo is more of a point guard, a slender point guard that's not really a great shooter. I mean, mm-hmm. he's a really good passer, mm-hmm. but he has a lot to learn basketball before he become who he think
Can he
wanna
change
be.
the game?
Well-
Is he a game changer?
For a team, I don't think he's a game changer for the history of basketball.
Okay.
Like when, just like I said, when LeBron came out, they put him as the chosen one, and he lived up. He had a lot of pressure. He lived up to that. He had some downfalls along the way, but he lived up to that. Not a lot of people can do that.
Sure.
Well, I guess as the old adage says, only time will tell.
Yes.
All right, and we have our write-in question. Share it.
Well, we have a write-in question today, and it is, what is your feeling about what happened to the Baltimore Orioles, Adam Jones, in Boston, and the response that he received the next night? This is from Abby of Tacoma Park.
I'll start. For me, I thought it was just disgusting. That's the word I'll use there. I just thought it was like a lack of class, and it was like really bad that happened in Boston, which has, I don't know if it's justified, but they have had a reputation of having a, for lack of a better word, racist sports city. So that has been put out there before. So it sucks that happened there. And I thought the next night it was a kind gesture. Their heart was in the right place, but it seemed really forced. And if you listen to the crowd while they were doing it, there were still some people that were booing him. So I just thought it seemed like a forced gesture at the end of it. So for me, I kind of just frowned upon the situation as a whole.
Well, I don't know. I think Boston is a known sports town. It's a rough situation as well because they've had some history of some shortcomings of some conservative views that they have in their community. I think what happened with Adam Jones in the outfield with the bag of peanuts being thrown at him, I don't think that's right at all. I think that was really classless. They ended up throwing the person out. As a matter of fact, they've been suspended from Fenway Park and can't attend games. The next night, I think it was a good gesture that the fans cheered him. He did tip his hat to that. I mean, again, like you say, Dante, there were some that were still booing. And that's unfortunate that the whole situation had to happen. Like I said, sometimes when you get to sports, you like to think whatever your personal views are, put them aside because the sport is just there so you can enjoy it.
Yeah, it was horrible what they did, but I think that it was a good gesture. But they threw the guy out. But when the guy was performing his act of throwing the peanuts and using the profanity that he was doing, what about the people that were surrounding this guy who was letting it happen? Who maybe was enjoying what the guy was saying about Adam. That's the disappointing thing about it. But overall, I thought it was good that, a few bad apples didn't spoil the whole show.
That's true. And also you want to keep in mind, some of those people may have been scared to say anything. May not have agreed with it, but may have been scared to voice it because of what may have happened to them. It shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately we're in a society that has some of that situation.
And that's the hard part about it. But that will be our wrap-up for the Daily Deuce for today. We've enjoyed having our guest, Reggie Williams. We thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Reggie. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me,
Thank
guys.
you.
Great
Appreciate
show.
it.
Great show.
Until our next Deuce, we'll see you later.
Take care. Have a great week, and thanks for tuning in.